And unfortunately, we start off with sad news where police have commenced investigations into the gruesome road accident involving a van and a pickup truck at the notorious Nithi Bridge along Meru-Nairobi Road on a Saturday night that left 12 people dead. The accident involved a 10-seater van headed to Nairobi and a Meru-bound pickup. The van was ferrying a group of business women from Ongata Rongai who had attended a social event in Meru. Tharaka Nithi Police Commander Zacchaeus Ngeno said the dead included 10 adults and 2 children.
A cloud of disbelief and grief hovered around Ongata Rongai market on Sunday. Today, unlike other days, the traders were in a somber mood. This is after they learnt of the tragic news that their colleague, who had operated in the market for the last 12 years, was no more.
Jerry alikuwa beshte yangu tu, but nilikuwa nimekaa almost a week bila kumuona.
A group of business women from the area had traveled to Meru for a social event of one of their members. However, at around 9 p.m., the Meru-bound pickup collided head-on with a 10-seater van that was headed to Nairobi. The family of Anjeri is still coming to terms with the grisly road accident.
Na tukapata habari kuwa msichana wangu na mtoto wake waliaga pale.
Nikiulizwa nikaambia Anjeri alikuwa na mtoto, nikaanza sasa kupiga simu. Anti yake akiwa Chuka akaniambia hawaoni Njeri kwa Hondu. Sasa wanaenda kufunguliwa mochari.
The family has already dispatched Njeri's husband to pick their bodies and plan for their burial following their untimely death.
Sasa sisi tunaomba usaidizi, mtusaidie kubeba hii mzigo, ni mzigo kubwa kwetu. Watoto tuko nao wandogo, hatujui tutafanya nini.
While confirming the incident, Tharaka Nithi Police Commander Zacchaeus Ngeno said the dead included 10 adults and 2 children. 2 other people in a pickup, including the driver, were injured and rushed to a hospital in Chogoria. According to the National Transport and Safety Authority, 7,198 Kenyans have been involved in road accidents from January 1st to April 1st, marking an increase of 1,908 compared to last year.
Let's come back here to the capital, where traders and residents of Ngara area in Nairobi County are counting losses following an early morning explosion that caused a huge fire along Desai Road. The explosion is said to have emanated from a hotel as a cook was lighting a faulty gas cylinder. The fire, according to eyewitnesses, quickly spread after it caught 2 neighboring shops that stock gas cylinders. No injuries were reported during the incident.
The Sunday morning calm in Ngara, Nairobi County was disrupted by multiple explosions followed by a huge fire. After efforts by firefighters, the fire was contained, leaving behind a trail of destruction and losses. The fire is said to have started at one of the hotels before spreading to adjacent premises, among them gas cylinder shops.
Mi tunaishi na marafiki wangu watatu. So like kuna mmoja anakula miraa kwa amelala. So like yama saa kufika, unajua ikilipuka ilikuwa inalipuka, unasikia nyumba ikitingika. So akatuambia, "Brayo amkeni, nikaa kuna lipuka." Hapa yote ile yenye iko nyuma yako ukiangalia moto ilianzia hapo. Moto kuanzia hapo, hapa hii ground yenye tumesimama, hapa kulikuwa kumewekwa stock ya gas.
Sasa huyo mtu kama ameasha gasi hakujua kama pengine inatoa hiyo oxygen ya inaweza leta madhara, kwa sababu yeye kukuja sasa kuasha, hata ni bahati mzuri kuchoma yeye, kwa sababu amekimbia after hiyo moto kuwa kwa hewa akakimbia.
The vehicles at this garage have been reduced to shells. A few meters away, several residential houses were not spared. Rendered homeless within minutes, those affected say they were unable to salvage anything.
Hakuna kitu nimeokea, tanda zimechomeka, kila kitu imechomeka. Juu watoto walikuwa ndani na ungeweza kuingia hapa, juu moshi ilikuwa ilikuwa already huku ndani, ungeweza ingia. Watupee ID, wasitulipishe, watupee tu ID kama as a original ID. And with the other documents, vitu zote za masomo zilikuwa hapa, kila kitu ilikuwa hapa.
Business people watch helplessly as their once stocked up shops continue to smolder.
Nimepigiwa simu nikaambiwa moto imekuwa mingi, nikakuja tu nikakuta vile moto inawaka, lakini isingeweza kukaribia juu kulikuwa na mlipuko wa gasi.
Sema mafriji, maziwa ilikuwa pia hiyo lazima imeisha. Ndani kwa dhamana stock na machine sema hapa million.
Sijui chochote cha kufanya, sasa nimekuja hapa nimekaa tu hivi. Moto umechoma kila kitu.
Ishele hapa moto ingeshika ima kontena na maana tungepoteza mali nyingi za Wakenya, lakini wanakuja kwa kuchelewa. Sasa tungesema hapa ni vijijini sawa, lakini hapa ni katikati ya mji. Hapa kila mtu yuko hapa, watu sijui ni kuambeje madamu, lakini tuna hasara pesa mingi sana hapa. Tuangalie tu vile tutasaidiwa.
In February this year, a truck carrying liquefied petroleum gas exploded at Embakasi in Nairobi County, claiming at least 6 lives and destroying property. The level of destruction at this site is a clear indication of the magnitude of the explosion, and hours after the fire was put out, area residents and business people are still counting their losses. Nancy Okware reporting from Ngara, Nairobi County.
And in other news, President William Ruto has reassured the nation of his commitment to unite all Kenyans. Speaking in Bungoma on Sunday, the president maintained that no one will be allowed to plant seeds of discord among the citizenry. The head of state also reflected upon his newly established political partnership with the ODM leader Raila Amolo Odinga and his warm reception by the people of Nyanza, terming it a miracle.
A day after wrapping up his 4-day tour of the Nyanza region,
and it is amazing what God can do. You know, it is almost a miracle that the people who were on extreme sides a few months ago, today, we are speaking as though we are very long time brothers and sisters and friends.
President William Ruto spent the better part of Sunday morning in Bungoma County, where he attended a service at ACK Bungoma Church. Addressing the congregants, President Ruto promised to do whatever it will take to keep the country united, adding that politicians intending to divide Kenyans along ethnic lines will not succeed.
Those who want to preach to us sectarian, ethnic, parochial, regional politics will not succeed in this country, because this country is a country that trusts in God.
The president, who spoke of his resolve to work with all leaders and people of Kenya without discrimination, also hailed his partnership with ODM leader Raila Odinga, saying it will ensure that the country is united in a common goal.
And I want to promise Kenyans that I will go out of my way. I will do whatever it takes to make sure that this country is united and that no part of Kenya is left behind as we march into the future as a people.
The head of state, who also addressed residents of Bungoma town, vowed to complete ongoing projects in the county, including the construction of the Masindo Muliro Stadium. He was accompanied by several leaders from the county, including Governor Ken Lusaka.
Wakati nilikuja hapa, niliona ya kwamba wananchi walikuwa wanapigwa na jua sana. So nimeinstruct ya kwamba waweke canopy, waweke kiwanja mzuri, na vile vile tuongeze mataa, ndio hata nyinyi mnaweza kucheza mpira, ichezwe hata mpaka usiku. Hebu nione wala anasema tunaunga mkono Kenya ingane iwe moja.
President Rigathi Gachagua has assured residents of Meru and Tharaka Nithi counties that the Nithi Bridge black spot will be redesigned to cover frequent deaths that have been experienced in the area, following Saturday's tragedy where 12 people were killed in a gruesome accident involving a van and a pickup truck at the infamous black spot on the notorious Nithi Bridge. Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua gave the government's firm commitment to address the matter with urgency.
Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has assured residents of Meru and its environs that the plan to redesign the Nithi Bridge area are almost complete. Speaking at Mikumbine Methodist Church of Kenya in Meru during the centenary celebration services, the DP said plans to review the design of the Killer Bridge, which is marked by sharp curves that have turned into a black spot, are almost complete.
Mambo ya Nithi Bridge, it is true. Tuliahidi. I have called the PS, ile mumeona nimetoka nje, Engineer Mbogwa kutaka kujua hiyo ahadi rais wetu alipeana. Nimemwambia kumekuwa na ajali last night. 12 people are dead, others are injured. I'm here in Meru. Emotions are very high. People are asking, they want an answer. He has told me that the designs are almost complete.
Really unfortunate. We lost 12 lives yesterday, people from Meru. So ikumbuka najua zile shida zimekuwa, Tharaka Nithi tufanyie nini? Tutengenezewe. Ama namna gani?
On matters security in Meru County, the DP commended the county commissioner for his dedication to ensure that cattle rustlers do not evade residents in the county. The DP also refuted claims that the central region has not shown gratitude for its cabinet slot.
And in the positions that we have been given, we are very appreciative to the president. But the truth of the matter is that we also merit those positions because we invested heavily in this government.
The deputy president also said the Mount Kenya region will continue supporting President William Ruto and his administration.
Well, the country's second in command this morning will be at the KICC during the commissioning of the Foreign Travel Management Information System, and we'll duly inform you in our subsequent bulletin in regards to that event. Now, a section of opposition leaders led by Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka have opposed the directive by the president to have the National Youth Service NYS recruits undergo basic firearms training. Speaking after a church service at the Holy Ghost Cathedral in Mombasa County, Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka said the directive announced during the 88th pass-out parade held in Gilgil only intends to counter protests by ordinary citizens. The Wiper leader also opposed the new university funding model, noting under the model most parents in the country will not be able to take their children to universities. His sentiments were echoed by DAPK party leader Eugene Wamalwa.
Tukisikia ya kwamba NYS vijana ambao wamekuwa huduma ya taifa wanataka kupewa bunduki, hii inatupa wasiwasi kama wananchi.
Unataka kupatia vijana wa National Youth Service bunduki, alafu wapatie risasi. Hiyo hatutakubali. It is clear. Na wametangaza wazi ati wawe, the idea of National Youth Service was not to create another military force.
Now, Moses Omondi, a microbiology student at the University of Nairobi, is seeking financial assistance amounting to 237,000 shillings to continue with his higher education. Omondi secured a place at the university in 2021, but due to financial constraint, he was forced to defer his education for 3 years to allow him to raise funds to cater for his first year. Moses, who hails from Siaya County, has been engaging in menial jobs at Kangemi with the hope of raising money for his education. He is now appealing to well-wishers to come to his aid. Here is his story.
Moses Omondi's fate at the University of Nairobi now hangs in the balance after failing to raise 237,000 shillings required to complete his studies. Omondi received 30,000 shillings from HELP to cover the first academic year, an amount that was not enough as he required 79,000 shillings to cover his tuition fee and upkeep during his first year.
Yes, I did my KCSE in 2021, April. So I was unable to join the university, so I came to Nairobi just to do my deferral.
After deferring his studies in 2021, he kept receiving the HELP money for 3 academic years, an amount he saved up and later used to complete payment for his first year in September 2023. Having exhausted his HELP money, Omondi has run out of options as he is required to join second year by the 10th of September 2024. He's now hoping that Kenyans of goodwill can help sponsor his education, since his parents, who are peasant farmers who live in Siaya, cannot afford to pay for his studies.
I went to Dean of Students to ask for deferral, and I was told that I cannot defer again. So without that money, I will be forced just to drop out of university.
Any financial assistance to help Omondi can be channeled through M-Pesa paybill number 300059, account number SBL 33/5870/2021. You can also reach Moses on mobile number 0700655196.
Anything small will go a long way. You can contribute to that young man's career. Elsewhere, religious leaders have been urged to pray for the country's peace, for collective prosperity and promotion of harmony in the society. Hindu religious leaders who spoke during the commemoration of the 25th anniversary of Bab's Hindu Temple in Nairobi County emphasized the importance of mutual respect and understanding among the country's diverse communities. John Kahiro gives a taste of the memorable celebration for the Hindu community.
BAPS Hindu Temple in Nairobi's Parklands area. Hundreds of worshippers and community members gathered to celebrate the temple's quarter century.
It has been 25 years of instilling values and virtues, impacting the spirit, the service of selfless service, in promoting traditional values and arts and culture.
Inaugurated in 1999, the temple has become one of its kind in Africa, ranging from its unique infrastructure to the spiritual contributions to not only the Hindu community but also other religious communities.
The biggest thing it does, it creates hope and faith. When people come here, when they see it, just the beauty of it, just the sheer of it, and just being here, it just gives them calm and peace.
The Silver Jubilee celebrations featured various captivating activities, from traditional Hindu dances and their cultural performances. The community, dressed in their religious attires, further colored the festive atmosphere, reflecting the rich cultural heritage of the Hindu community.
We do a lot of charitable activities also for the benefit of local society, be it in humanitarian aids, be it in environmental, be it in education, or be it medical health.
It is here that religious leaders, also known as Swamis, took the opportunity to call for unity in the country.
And we pray to gods that everyone stays calm, everyone stays happy, and everyone work together in order to progress this country.
We should be united, because united we stand and divided we fall.
The congregation, led by youth groups, held the various initiatives the temple has sought to instill values of discipline among the young generation.
The Full Temple has also taught me and many others as well how to grow professionally, personally, and moreover, and the most important, spiritually in life.
For the past 25 years, BAPS Hindu Temple has been a place of worship, cultural preservation and social service, making significant contribution to the society's well-being. An indeed happy 25th anniversary to this great temple. John Kahiro, KBC Channel 1 from the BAPS Hindu Temple, Parklands in Nairobi.
Also, the Rendile community in Marsabit County has marked a historic milestone with the first ever food and cultural festival held in Logo. The vibrant event aims to preserve the Rendile language and culture, which are at risk of fading away due to assimilation with the neighboring Samburu community.
The festival was a colorful array of Rendile traditions, showcasing their distinctive dances, traditional attire, unique cuisine, and the rich variations of their language. With a population of just over 100,000 according to the 2019 census, the Rendile people took this opportunity to reconnect with their heritage in a vivid display of cultural pride.
Tumekula vyakula vyetu vya kitamaduni, tumecheza densi za kitamaduni, tumeimba, tumekula ngamia.
Ngamia ichinjwa ile
pengine ni mgonjwa ama ile amevunjika, ile iko na kasoro yote, tunatafuta ile ngamia iko na kala mzuri, ndio tunachinja kwa sherehe kama hii.
Na tumeona ni kitu inatufaa kwa kila wakati, kwa kila maka, kwa sababu imetuleta sisi Warendile hata tujuane.
Particularly focused on the youth and children who are increasingly influenced by modern lifestyles, the 3-day event organized by the Pastoralist People's Initiative included the establishment of a new learning center.
Tamaduni zetu si ya kuhifadhi tu kwenye museums. Museums tunasema kwamba ni collection ya dead ama tamaduni ambazo zimekufa na watu wanakumbushwa vile zilikuwa zinafanyika. Lakini sisi kama Pastoralist People's Initiative tunataka tamaduni zetu ziendelee kuishi.
Vitu zile tulikuwa tunatumia kitambo za utamaduni wetu. Hatukuwa tunatumia vikombe vya sasa, masahani za sasa. Hatukuwa tunatumia vibuyu kwa kuweka maji za plastiki. Tulikuwa tunajua vile ya kujenga na zile miti za kitambo. Hizo ndo tunakuja kuweka kwa hizo nyumba tuweze kujua kwamba kabla ya hizi plastic zikuje tulikuwa tunatumia nini.
Central to the festivities was the revered camel, a cornerstone of Rendile life.
Ngamia kwa Rendile ni mnyama ambaye Rendile wanasema ngamia ni mungu yao ya pili. Iko na maziwa, iko na mafuta, iko na nyama, iko na kila kitu. Ni gari yetu, ni gari ya Rendile.
Sheria, tamaduni na maisha ya Mrendile inazunguka mnyama huyu anayeitwa ngamia.
Mtu ya Rendile ngamia yake akikufa, majirani yetu wanapanga wanaenda kuambia pole, kila mtu analeta mtoto ya mbuzi na kupatia.
The community hopes to make this event an annual celebration.
Tunataka hii kitu kila wakati tufanye, ndio sisi watu wa Marsabit tukue na usalama, kwa sababu kila wakati tunakuanga na rapcha kidogo ya fita ya kabila, na tunataka kusimamisha kitu kama hii inaweza kuleta usalama kwa county ya Marsabit.
This comes at a time when we are small marginalized communities are facing marginalization to an extent that they're not even registered and they're not remembered. They're not acknowledged by the government in terms of legislation or in terms of registration.
The Rendile community's dedication to preserving their traditions while looking forward to the future exemplifies their strength and resilience. Their cultural heritage remains a powerful testament to their enduring spirit and commitment to both tradition and progress.
Now let's directly jump into the world of sports, where Edmund Serem led Kenya to a 1-2 finish in the 3,000-meter steeplechase finals as curtains came down on the 20th World Athletics Under-20 Championship yesterday in Lima, Peru. Kenya finished 6th overall with 7 medals, 3 gold, 3 silver and a bronze medal behind champions United States of America, who had 16 medals, 8 gold, 4 silver and 4 bronze medals.
And Serem now going away, one barrier, not the most...
Africa silver medalist Edmund Serem bagged gold in style with a world-leading time of 8 minutes 15 seconds in the 3,000-meter steeplechase, while his compatriot Matthew Kosgei took silver in a personal best time of 8 minutes 17.46 seconds.
Of Ethiopia now fancies his chance. Pintado coming round the outside.
Josephat Kipkirui finished 4th in the men's 1,500 meters final, won by Ethiopian Abdiya Faisa, while Cameron Myers of Australia and Spanish Alex Pintado won silver and bronze respectively. Kenya finished 6th overall with 7 medals, 3 gold, 3 silver and 1 bronze medal.